Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Brothers and sisters, this is a very impromptu Five Pillars Muslims Uncensored live with Robert Carter, who is currently in Beirut, has been for the past few days. Alhamdulillah, has been reporting heroically on the recent historic events. The reason why we're going live, brothers and sisters, obviously you would have heard by now, is the dramatic assassination of the Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah, the most powerful man in Lebanon, one of the most powerful and well-known men in the Middle East, perhaps in the whole Muslim world. This is an impromptu live. I haven't really announced it, only a few minutes ago on social media. Brothers and sisters, please share it. Please keep the comments coming in. Perhaps we might get other people joining us as well. But now that we've got Robert, I want to get straight into it because Robert's very busy. He's probably going to go out and start reporting. I'm sure there'll be huge repercussions to what has just happened. So, Robert, if I can come straight to you. Robert, it's just been confirmed in the last few minutes by Hezbollah that Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, has been assassinated by an Israeli strike last night. He's confirmed dead now. What is your reaction? What are people saying there in Beirut? Okay, just as we had Robert, we seem to have lost him just as he was about to answer my question. Let's hope that, obviously, there might be internet issues, brothers and sisters. That's why I was keen to do this very quickly and get Robert to respond. While we're waiting for Robert to come back, I think I might have him back now. Yeah. Sorry about that, Robert. I solely thundered. Let's get straight into it while we've got you. Yeah. Your reaction, what people saying on the ground.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Apologies for that. Signal is on and off. It starts off good and then tends to fade. So if I cut out during this discussion, that's the reason. So just bear with us, please. The situation here is incredibly tense. It's incredibly heightened tensions because of the news announcement, as well as the sustained intense attacks by the Israeli regime across the country. So obviously we now know that Nasrallah has been killed. That's confirmed by their own party. The Hezbollah organization is a proscribed group in the UK, as we all know. So just a disclaimer to put that out there straight away. However, the group is also a very prominent political force, as well as a military force here in Lebanon and the region as a whole. Nasrallah has headed the organization, I think, since 1992, taking over from his predecessor, Abbas al-Musawi, who was also killed via assassination. He was killed whilst fighting against the Israeli occupation of South Lebanon. Since Nasrallah took over the group, I think he was in his mid-30s at the time, he has headed them as they have fought and liberated the South. He led the group as they fought in the 2006 war with Israel and every other conflict since, including the Syrian civil war. As we know, Iran and Hezbollah playing a role in propping up the regime of Bashar al-Assad as well. So he's been around for a very long time. I think Nasrallah has become synonymous with the group. In fact, they're kind of the same. When you mention Hezbollah, you automatically mention Nasrallah as well. So what that means is that his loss now at this time is a massive blow to his supporters and to the Iranian axis in general. Right now, the reaction is spreading across the country. Everyone has heard the news. His supporters are now venting. There has been noise of gunshots ringing out throughout Beirut, particularly the southern suburbs, where it is predominantly Shia. Dahiya, which has been heavily targeted over the past 24 hours, past 12 hours, pummeled, in fact, by Israel throughout the night, is considered a Hezbollah stronghold by Israel, by the West. But we have to remember these are heavily civilian populated territories as well. So the death toll of this conflict is rising sharply and has done.
Okay, brothers and sisters, I think this is going to happen quite a lot simply because Robert has not got great internet connection there in Beirut, but he will rejoin us. I think what I'll do is I'll take some of the comments while we're waiting for Robert to rejoin. So a lot of people expressing some concern about Robert. I mean, Robert is fine. We're journalists, brothers and sisters. This is what we do. We take risks. We are part of the struggle. We consider ourselves part of this struggle, this pro-Palestine struggle. So, when things get hot, we go there. That's what we do as journalists. And that's what Robert did as a journalist. He wanted to go. He volunteered to go. We all wanted to go. Dilly wanted to go. I wanted to go. So we're there now. But we are keeping Robert as safe as possible. Obviously, there's no guarantee of safety. Israel's bombing the whole country. But, we've told him to stay in Beirut and side on that kind of area, not to go to the south or to Dahia or even the Bekaa if possible. But he has to go out and do reporting at the same time. People have heroically been, kind of reporting on this from Gaza and from Lebanon, and we're no different. But we are doing everything we can to keep Robert safe, and it is a short reporting stint as well. Robert will be back in the UK soon, inshallah, and we've got him back. Robert, continue. People are expressing concern for your safety, Robert. Are you safe and sound? So Robert can't hear us yet. Robert,
thank you. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Yeah, alhamdulillah. Everything is fine and well. Obviously, I'm being well taken care of here. The Lebanese people, as you know, Roshan, I think you've been here several times, I'm sure. They are among the best of the ummah. They are beautiful people, very kind-hearted, and they take care of their guests incredibly well. But obviously, it is a very concerning time. I spent the night watching from my hotel the bombs dropping down. It's not far. It's a small city, Beirut. So if it gets attacked, you see it, you hear it. And obviously I can see chaos happening. I've been to craters where an Israeli strike took place recently. But I think that the big question now is we're all reacting to the news, including here in Lebanon. We now know what's happened. What will happen is the biggest question on everyone's mind now. What is going to happen? What is Iran going to do? What is Hezbollah going to do? What is Israel going to do next? What's their supporters on the ground here in Lebanon going to do? And what are their rivals, their political rivals, going to do on the ground here in Lebanon? Nasrallah, he has been around for such a long time, and I think his supporters would never have imagined, maybe a few days ago only, that Israel would ever have the nerve to take him out like this.
Robert, can I ask you a question? Just because I'm conscious that you might leave us at any minute, so I want to get through this quite quickly if possible. It seems, how did they get to him? It seems as though their communications are completely compromised. How did Israel do this? Is there some technology they're using? I mean, the obvious way is mobile phones to track people, right? But Hezbollah weren't using mobile phones. Then it was pagers. Obviously, we know that in Lebanon, a lot of people don't like Hezbollah. They have a lot of political enemies within the country, as well as a lot of support. So I suppose there'll be quite a few traitors in Lebanon that could be giving information. Or is there some technology that Israel's using that we don't even know about yet? How did they get to Nasrallah, who must have been completely guarded? How did they know where he would be? And where all the other commanders and leaders of Hezbollah that they've killed in the last week? How did they know it, Robert?
That is a very good question, and to be honest with you, we can only speculate. We don't know exactly. Obviously, there could be technology that Israel's using that we don't know about. They have deployed means in this war that people weren't expecting, like the massive pager and walkie-talkie attack. But there are serious questions over the likelihood of an infiltration, a deep infiltration into Hezbollah by Israel. Speaking to Lebanese on the streets in Beirut and elsewhere, I think that's pretty much what the conclusion that everyone's reached, that Hezbollah is compromised pretty severely, because it's not just Nasrallah that's been taken out now, but a huge number of the leadership has also been taken out in a very short space of time. Israel has been collecting many scalps.
So they think it's human intelligence, not technology, that's led to this.
Yes, quite possibly.
Because
Yes, absolutely.
Some of my Lebanese friends have been saying they may even have found a way to put trackers on some kind of tracking device, even on their clothes, some QR code or something. They think that, I mean, we know that Hezbollah has lots of enemies within Lebanon, but they necessarily wouldn't know the inner workings of Hezbollah, you know? So, I mean, I do think it's crazy that despite all these assassinations over the last week, Hezbollah had all their senior commanders in one place at the same time. That just seems to be a very dumb thing to do. Can you hear me, Robert?
The signal is quite bad at the moment. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll give you a reaction
Sure.
to the point I think you was trying to make. It's obviously, yes, the issue of infiltration. I think what's happened is in the early years of this group, it was a smaller organization. Its original core membership was made up of people who knew each other. They grew up in the same areas. They were comrades. They were revolutionaries. They had a good relationship with Iran in the early years, received that early support. The old guard are now being taken out, not just here, but also in Iran as well, like Qasem Soleimani, for example. After 2006, Nasrallah has expanded the organization dramatically, more than twice its size, maybe 3-4 times the size that it was prior to 2006. And with this new influx of membership and the size of the organization that it is, remember, it's not just a military, it has political wing, it has hospitals, charities, schools that are all active under its leadership. The likelihood, the risk of infiltration is going to increase, and policing it will also be much harder. So obviously something has happened here, and many people are believing that that has to be the reason. That has to be some kind of serious intelligence infiltration into Hezbollah. That's got to be the reason. But obviously, again, it's speculation. We may never get the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, the question is that response. What is going to happen next?
Can you hear
Will
me now,
Iran
Robert?
wait and try and fix these issues before retaliating?
Can you hear me now, Robert? Is the sound any better?
I can. It's very. It's
all
like,
right. I'm going to keep my questions very brief because you can't hear me very well. Is there going to be a response? Is Hezbollah going to do anything? Can it do anything? Is it defeated? Will Iran do anything? What's going to happen next?
The question wasn't clear. I heard it was about Iran, so I may have to answer perhaps not your question, but discuss Iran. I think what I've seen about reports and headlines that are going out now is that Iran is discussing with its regional allies what to do next. I think they're under serious pressure to respond. Do you think I think they have to respond? To be honest with you, they'll be under serious pressure. They already have yet to respond to the Haniyeh assassination that took place on Iranian territory not that long ago. I think that obviously Israel is throwing some heavy punches, and as you know from past conflicts, Roshan, the pendulum swings in a conflict. So sometimes you'll get your punches in, but then your adversary will get on top and will have the domination of the fight. Then it may swing the other way. So right now, the fight is in Israel's favor. They're swinging the punches. They're landing the heavy blows. Could it swing in Iran's favor? Will they react in a way that will put them back on top? We don't know. Do they have what it? Do they have the ability to do it now, or do they have to backpedal a bit, lick their wounds, and perhaps try and fix the issues with Hezbollah and then come back to fight another day? Will they send troops, Iranian troops, into Lebanon to join the fight if Israel invades? Will Israel invade? These are all the big questions which I'd be very interested for you to react to, people in the comments section, because quite frankly, no one knows. Israel controls the skies here. They could hit anywhere, anytime. They are attacking all of Lebanon, all over the country. not just Beirut, not just the Shia areas, not just the south. The east, some Christian areas have been targeted as well. The situation is tense and could go in any direction, any direction. So quite frankly, Roshan, your guess is as good as mine, even though I'm here in Beirut.
Robert, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a bit clearer.
Yeah. If you can't hear me, because we can hear you really well, but if you can't hear me, I might write some questions in the private chat and you can have a look.
I can see the questions. Yes, that's the best.
I was going to say something, but now that you can hear me and I can hear you here, let's keep asking you the questions. And I think I might take some of the questions. It's a bit haphazard, this, I know, but people are asking you a lot of questions. I mean, some people are saying in the north of Syria in particular, they're celebrating, Nasrallah's death. He wasn't even universally popular in Lebanon. Obviously, the war in Syria caused a lot of tension. Hezbollah sided with Assad there. What are people saying? What your reaction to that? And in Lebanon itself, how are people reacting to this? Or is it too early to say?
I mean, it is a little bit early to say. Obviously, in Beirut, there are strong areas of support for Hezbollah, and we can hear gunshots going off. People are likely going to mobilize, especially in the night, because that's when the men tend to take to their motorcycles and it gets a little bit dicey, can get a bit dangerous when it's dark and the streets are not lit. Could there be some kind of protest tonight, some kind of mobilization of supporters? We don't know. In terms of areas like Tripoli, for example, a city in the north, which is predominantly Sunni Muslim, and has been supportive of the revolution in Syria, some areas of that city. We have heard reports of celebrations as well, celebrations at the fact that Nasrallah has been killed. There is a lot of criticism of Hezbollah in Lebanon among some Western Christian factions. They've been condemning the group for basically asking for a fight with Israel. Now that the fight is here, then they're not handling it very well. That's what these critics are saying. And obviously that's raising tensions as well. There is a lot of sectarianism in Lebanon because the political infrastructure, the system here has been built to be sectarian. It's designed to be sectarian. It's designed to divide and rule. This is the best example of what the West has given to the Middle East. If you just look at Lebanon, literally created by France, and look at how it's run, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and everyone is constantly at each other's throats. And at a time that they're like that in times of peace, by the way. So imagine during a time of war, those tensions are getting inflamed now. There has been footage, images coming out of fistfights in some areas, rival supporters of different political groups getting into physical confrontations in some areas. Christians that don't like Muslims are stopping displaced families from Muslim areas going into their areas to settle and to seek help because they don't want Muslims in their areas to settle. They want to keep those areas Christian. The government in this country, in an attempt to help the displaced people fleeing from the conflict areas, they have told all schools to close and to reopen as displaced people centers to collect families and to house them temporarily inside schools. The schools in some, not all, but some Christian areas are refusing to close. They're keeping the schools for children and they are rejecting any displaced families, even though they're Lebanese. They're rejecting them because they don't want them in their communities. So this country is divided and the ugly face of sectarianism has reared its head a little bit. Now that the anger and the upset and the fury of the passionate supporters, loyalists of Hezbollah and other Shia groups are now going to take to the streets maybe tonight. Who knows what's going to happen? There could be violence. Perhaps rival groups will duck for cover and avoid confrontation at this time. But who knows? It's very, very tense. Very, very tense. In fact, Western journalists as well don't really want to go out on the streets at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, Robert, can you hear me? Are you okay? Is it clear?
It's on and off.
Yeah, so I mean, I think, Robert, your safety first and foremost is paramount. Obviously, you're a married man with children. We want to keep you safe. We want you to report on the story. We feel we have a duty to report on the story. to the people that, you know, are donors, our subscribers, the people that consume our content. However, your safety is paramount. So don't take any unnecessary risks. Don't get in the way of gunfire. If you have to do everything from your hotel, then you have my permission to do that. And obviously, you can leave whenever you feel it's necessary to leave as well. I personally think that Iran's in a very difficult position because I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that, you know, Israel has demonstrated its military superiority over the last few months, its financial superiority, political, technological, etc., etc. So I think Iran realizes that if it goes up against, despite all Iran's bluster in the past, that we will do this, we will do that, I think Iran knows that Israel wants a short, sharp war. And that is the way that Israel is going to win as well. You know, if Iran goes head to head with Israel, you know, they're going to lose. That's the fact. If Hamas did that, it would lose. If Hezbollah did that, it would lose. But what Israel doesn't want is a long war of attrition over decades, over 50 years, 100 years. That's what Israel cannot sustain. So I think we have to have a grown-up conversation when people criticize the axis of resistance. And I have been very critical as well of them. And there's a lot to criticize, quite frankly, especially when they raise the expectations very high. But the reality is, do you play into Israel's hands? But I think, obviously, Iran's credibility will be completely shot if they don't respond. They didn't respond when Haniyeh was killed. So now that the Hezbollah leader's killed, if they don't respond in any meaningful way, I think ultimately their credibility will be shot. And also internally, I think they put their own position in danger because obviously Palestine is one of their flagship issues, right? They wave the flag all the time and their supporters will be angry with them. So I really think that if Iran doesn't do anything, internally it could be overthrown. The Islamic regime, you know, the Islamic Republic in Iran could be overthrown literally by its own people if it doesn't do something, or it undermines its own position. So it's kind of, they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't.
I managed to catch most of what you said, so I will react to it the best that I can. I think you're right that Israel has been on top of things. Like, for example, they are flattening Gaza, they're committing a genocide, and they're getting away with it. They have the superior firepower, they have control of the air. So, of course, they have a lot of advantages. And they've been hitting Lebanon very badly, and they themselves have been getting hit, but not on the same level. However, the question is, why is Netanyahu escalating? Why is he taking the fight into Lebanon when he hasn't even finished in Gaza? What I think, and I'll try and be as brief as I can, is that actually Netanyahu is facing intense pressure over what he's doing in Gaza. I think that he's not actually achieving his objectives. Hamas, another proscribed organization in the UK, Hamas has not been defeated. It's still going on. A genocide has been committed, and the international community is piling on him slowly. They're letting him get away with it in the West, but international pressure is on, and he faces legal potential repercussions as a result of all this. His future is in doubt. Even inside Israel, the pressure is on him politically. He hasn't got the hostages back. Israel has killed some of their own some of the hostages that they want themselves. So he has quite a list of failures, actually, out of 11 months of bombarding and attacking and killing kids in Gaza. What he might be doing is delaying, he's delaying peace, expanding the war, delaying and making the war go longer in order to wait for the results of the presidential election in November. If Trump wins, that might provide him a massive boost and maybe a way out of being punished, held to account for any of his actions in any way, shape, or form. Trump might provide him the cover he needs, as well as continued support to escalate in the region. Trump has already vowed that he will attack Iran directly if he wants to, if he has to. Also, he could be going into Lebanon as a way to try and create some wins for himself, some boxes he can say, I did this, achievements. So since attacking Lebanon, opinion polls in Israel have apparently increased in his favor. He is pushing the narrative that these are precision strikes hitting Hezbollah, not Lebanon. We know that's not true. He's killing Lebanese, innocent people, children, women, just like he did in Gaza. But obviously, he is hitting and taking out all of the senior leadership of the organization, one after the other. So this is a popular move in Israel. People have applauded the news of Nasrallah's death in Israel today. So obviously, these are things he can do to distract us from his crimes in Gaza, the genocide in Gaza, his failures in Gaza, and focus on his war with Hezbollah and his what he would describe as successes in his war in fighting Hezbollah. So it's a diversionary tactic, possibly a delaying strategy until possibly Trump gets in, and that could obviously swing things in his favor. He's playing a lot of risks, but I think at this stage things are paying off for him in Lebanon. But will that be maintained? Because the long drawn out conflict in Gaza hasn't worked in his favor. Although we've seen horrific death of Palestinians, it's coming on him, and he's trying to deflect it because he knows that soon it's going to fall on him. It's going to fall on Israel, on his right-wing fascist supremacist regime. So he's desperate to survive all of this. After all he's done, he's looking, how can I save myself? This disgusting war criminal, how can I save myself? And possibly his strategy with Lebanon is a desperate attempt to save himself in the future.
Yeah, obviously, Netanyahu is very unpopular, or has been, over the last year, but now his popularity is definitely rising after having taken out the leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about the ground invasion. Everyone's thinking about a ground invasion. I think Israel are going to try and do this from the air if they possibly can, because if they go on the ground, then they play to Hezbollah's strengths, don't they? Hezbollah can probably kill quite a lot of Israeli soldiers on their own territory, whereas Israel rules the skies. So I think they'll probably continue with this air offensive and only do a limited incursion into Lebanon on the ground. I mean, they've done several in the past and they've all failed. And Israel just doesn't have the manpower. It's a small country with not a big population. It doesn't have the manpower to sustain an occupation of Lebanon. So I don't think personally that's going to happen. What else can we say? I mean, I don't know. I guess the question many people are asking themselves today is, has Israel won? Have they won this war? Have we lost? Is Israel emboldened? What's their next step going to be? Are they going to take Masjid al-Aqsa? What do you think about that? I mean, that's what people are asking themselves. Have they won? Have we lost?
It was hard to hear the question. You may have to type it up.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I heard won or lost. So perhaps you're asking me, has Israel won this? That is a good question. Obviously, the war is ongoing. So no, they haven't won. They haven't won in Gaza. They have not won in Gaza. I know it appears like Gaza, it's been flattened. Mass murder has been committed. Israel's getting away with it. There's no repercussions. The arms continues to flow from the West. However, Hamas is still ongoing. All Israel has done is it has impassioned the people, the native inhabitants of these fine lands, to fight more. That's all they've done. So in the short term, Israel may spin it and say, yes, we've won. We've killed so many Hamas fighters. We've flattened Gaza. We're flattening Lebanon. We're flattening Beirut. They're going to say this, and they're going to call it a win. And okay, the death toll will definitely be higher for the Arabs in Lebanon and Palestine than in Israel, as is often the case. But in the long run, what's going to happen? This has strengthened the determination of these anti-Israel armed groups to come back and fight harder, to commit more October the 7th. So even some Israelis themselves are looking at Netanyahu's leadership and going, you do realize that this is going to come back badly. And the fact is that the suffering has been so immense and so well documented that it's not only on the minds of the Palestinians who are in Gaza that are being affected by this, all over the Ummah, all over the world, all over the Arab world. Everyone is seeing these children being slaughtered, mutilated bodies being pulled out from under the rubble of women, the humiliation, the shame, the trauma, and who knows what's going to happen. But honestly, Israel is a pariah state. Everyone, quite frankly, wishes for Israel to face consequences. What consequences, I don't know, but some will want blood for blood. There's no doubt about that. I'm not advocating for anything, but people will want revenge. How will that revenge be dished out? And when? Something's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think, Robert, if you can hear me, 41,000 people have been killed in Gaza, and probably a lot more than that, because so many are under the rubble. We're talking maybe well over 100,000 people have been killed in Gaza. Now, when you lose your family, when you lose your children, your life is effectively over, isn't it? And you've got nothing else you're not in the mood for compromise then, are you? You've got nothing else to lose. So that's what creates suicide bombers. That's what creates people that are willing to give their lives and kill themselves, martyr themselves, some would say, against Israel. So they're literally creating what they would call terrorists by doing terrorism on Gaza. And everyone they kill in Lebanon as well, it just creates thousands more people that are going to take their place, and hatred that will last for generations. I think Israel, by exposing itself as the pariah state, the evil terroristic state that it has been, killing women and children, continuing the occupation, torturing people in prison, the lies, the way they've exposed their ugly face over the last year, not just to Muslims that already knew they were like that, but to non-Muslims as well. It's going to guarantee enmity for generations. And what Israel craves is dominance and acceptance and peace and security. And that's never going to happen. People are not going to forgive and forget. And I think, obviously, at the moment, the fact is, brothers and sisters, there looks like there's no military solution to this, because Israel have that military superiority. But people will continue to boycott. They will continue not to accept, Israel, or anything to do with Israel, or any company that works with Israel, or any politician that supports Israel. And that's going to literally last for generations. And in the future, inshallah, there will be a better moment. Geopolitics changes. Will America support Israel forever? When the internal dynamics of America is changing, America is becoming a more Hispanic country rather than an Anglo-Saxon country. Are they going to have the same affinity with Israel? The whole region is becoming less strategic because oil is running out, gas is running out. In 50 years' time, will they want to maintain this European settler colonialist outpost in the Middle East when China's the real threat for America? Maybe the Muslim world will be more united and stronger. So I think the important thing is not to surrender, because the only way Israel wins is if we surrender, if we give up, if we say we accept Israel, if we sign those normalization treaties like Saudi Arabia would like to do, like MBS would like to do. If they do that, and if Muslims do that en masse, then we have lost. But as long as we don't, then we might not have won, but inshallah we can wait for a better moment in the future. Would you like to, Robert, I know this is controversial, this statement that I'm going to put up now, but what would you say to this brother here, Trill Iman? I'm going to take this comment as if it's a genuine comment, not a flippant comment or whatever. How would you respond to him?
I think I'm not prepared to answer it. I know that from my memory, there are many verses in the Quran which would tackle this head on. Many times in the past, because obviously we've seen this before. We've seen war. We've seen the consequences of Muslims being killed all over the world. This is part of our job. We deal with this every day almost. And yeah, of course, you wonder about the dunya and the suffering that goes on and everything. But you have to remember that this life is not real. It's a test. It's temporary. If you're not given the chance to shine by dealing through trauma and hardship, How can you differentiate yourself from someone less deserving of a paradise in another world? We are believers in punishment and justice. That's what Islam is about. We punish wrongdoing, and we believe that good doing is rewarded in the end. But we also have to have sabr, patience. That's one of the challenges. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, does he not challenge everyone in one way or another? Health, wealth, or whatever. The fact of the matter is that I know, I believe, I think that when Allah loves someone, he's going to give them a hard temporary situation in the dunya, and then inshallah they're going to have the best paradise forever, eternity of paradise, eternity of paradise. Would you rather have a happy life in the dunya temporarily and then burn in hell forever and ever and ever, burning in the worst possible way? I don't think so. So although it's hard to remember, and shaitan whispers in our ears and uses opportunities like this to try and turn us away from Allah, we should not allow that. Because if you go to Gaza, if you come to Lebanon, I can assure you that the people who are suffering themselves are not doubting Allah, are not doubting the creator of the universe. In fact, it is he who is the only one really helping them. It is religious institutions as well who are helping when secular governments fail to help out ordinary citizens. It is the generosity of Muslims outside of these countries which is keeping them going and inspiring them. The fact is, Allah is the greatest of planners. And if you think back in history, imagine all the times like the Mongol invasion, the Crusades, Black Death, the plague. How would the people in those times have felt? Did they turn around and say, oh, Allah is not nice to us, astaghfirullah, let's leave Islam? No, they kept on. That's why we have Islam today, because they know that this is temporary and we have to deal with this. This is a test on us to prove ourselves. You don't get a university degree by just showing up and saying, well, I believe in education. That's not how life works, my friend. So inshallah, just read the Quran and stay around good Muslim friends, and don't allow this, because this is an evil, and that way of thinking is not going to help as well the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people might be shocked at that comment, but ultimately we have to be realistic. Some Muslims, a minority, are perhaps thinking that way. And instead of kind of burying our head in the sands, I think it's best that we address these issues head on. Alhamdulillah, this life is a test, brothers and sisters. This dunya is not the abode of happiness, is not the abode of success. And often the most successful people will probably go straight to Jahannam, you know? And just read the Quran, read the story of Moses, Prophet Musa and Khidr, you know, in Surah Al-Kahf, if you want to know. Sometimes we don't know the bigger plan, what the bigger plan is. I remember you telling me yesterday, Robert, that perhaps it's Allah's plan in the short term to make Israel dominant and stronger. But the tables will turn one day, inshallah. But yeah, we shouldn't, life is a test, and let's not fail this test, this test of Iman. Let's not fall at the first hurdle. Ultimately, you know, I've lived long enough now to know that there are successes and failures in life. You know, one day you're humiliated, the next day you're elevated, and often the truth is somewhere in between, you know. So just keep praying, brother. I took your comment as a genuine comment. Keep praying.
Roshan, can I just butt in? I'm going to change the internet connection, hopefully to improve it. So I might cut out, but I'm going to come straight back. Okay,
no problem. Yeah, so just a response to the brother who expressed those doubts. Keep reading keep your habits going every single day. Make sure you pray your 5 times prayer. Pray with khushu', okay? Beg Allah for forgiveness. Beg Allah to fulfill what you want him to fulfill. Make dua constantly. Read the Quran every day, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if it's just 1 page. Ponder upon it. You know, let the meaning wash over you. You know, these are the types of habits that you need to create to boost your iman, ultimately. Listen to Islamic lectures. Listen to true Islamic scholars, not like me or Robert, but people with real ilm and wisdom and hikmah. You know, these are the kinds of things that can boost your iman. But ultimately, success in this world is not how we judge Allah, and is not how we should even question the Almighty Allah Azza wa Jal. Robert, do you want to come back in?
Yes, I can hear you quite well now. So hopefully that will improve the situation. I heard
Robert,
not clearly. I heard not clearly what you said earlier, but you mentioned something. There was something about terrorism and this type of thing. I just want to mention briefly that being in a situation like this, you actually kind of get a taste of terrorism because with the situation now, death could come any time. And that's what Israel wants. It wants the civilians of Lebanon to fear constantly that they will be killed. They want that on purpose. So even let's say these are precision strikes. Let's say that they're not really targeting civilians. Civilians are not getting killed. That's not true. They are. But let's pretend that they're not, and that Israelis are doing precision strikes, using munitions of this size, controlling the skies, flying airplanes low over Beirut, sending people fleeing, attacking anywhere at any time, sending these creepy messages, move now because we're going to destroy the whole area in like 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes to get out or you might die. This is psychological attacks and terrorism because you are in a constant state of terror. You're in a constant state of fear for your life. You're in a constant state where you're worried your kids are going to get killed, just like Israel's been killing kids in Gaza. Israel is willing to kill as many kids as it takes to achieve its aims. This is how they're known. They're famous for this. This is their uniqueness. This is their offering to the world, to humankind, is their mass murder, their genocide of kids. So the Lebanese people are in a state of terror. So even if you're not going to say Israel's doing terrorism because they do precision strikes, well, actually, I've got a glimpse that actually it's a very terrifying situation, and Israel is a terrorist organization. It's a terrorist group. It's doing terrorism in Lebanon, and definitely it's doing terrorism in Gaza and the West Bank. This is no longer about October the 7th. Maybe it never was. This is about stealing land and terrorizing the inhabitants and killing the inhabitants.
let me address a few points in the comments. I would flash them up, but I've kind of lost them because so many comments are coming in. By the way, we do have about 1,200 people watching live, which I think is a significant amount of people. So we'll keep Robert on as long as we can until we run out of conversation, until you guys run out of questions as well.
Sure.
I mean, some people, Robert, are accusing us of being kind of pro-Iran and stuff like that. I think it's interesting because there was a fatwa, not a fatwa, but some advice, a statement by the International Union of Muslim Scholars, which is a Sunni organization, perhaps one of the most prominent Sunni scholarly organizations internationally speaking. It was Yusuf al-Qaradawi's old organization. May Allah have mercy on his soul. And they were addressing this point directly because there are some people that perhaps want, Lebanon to be destroyed and Hezbollah especially to be destroyed. And what the advice that he gave out to Muslims around the world, or this organization did, was that ultimately this is Israel's attempt to destroy Palestine. Ultimately, this is what, and ultimately that will lead to the takeover of Masjid al-Aqsa. So if you wish for the enemies of Israel to be destroyed, then ultimately you are supporting Israel. That's ultimately what the result is. You are supporting. If you want pressure to be taken off Israel, then you are supporting Israel. No matter what your beef may be, and legitimate beef in many ways, against certain organizations, the result of your actions is that you are being pro-Israeli. Now, I think there is some infiltration here. Obviously, the UAE, they have lots of money for bots and whatever to create these bots where it gives the impression that loads of Muslims are on the side of Israel or effectively on the side of Israel. We know that's not the truth. They're just amplifying using their own finances to amplify these fake accounts, etc. So that's the answer to that question. A lot of people are asking, or one person in particular is asking about the Lebanese army, Robert. And a few people are asking if you can just address this question so that people can stop asking that question, because it's getting a bit annoying now, the same question being asked millions of times. Where is the Lebanese army? Does it exist?
Yeah, it exists. It is what it is, which is it's not as capable or armed as the Iran-backed Hezbollah. We all know that. I think the issue that they have is, let's say, for example, if they want to get involved in what's happening on the border of Lebanon and Israel, Hezbollah is probably not even going to allow them because Hezbollah is going to take ownership of their territory. That's their heartland. That's where their people are, their fighters live. So they don't even want necessarily the Lebanese army to get involved. If the Lebanese army got involved, what could they do? I think right now what they're doing is kind of acting like police. They're protecting and preparing for the threat of invasion. They're centered around more metropolitan areas like Beirut and other cities, northern cities as well. So they're playing a role. They've set up roadblocks in order to check who's traveling around, and they're trying to help the refugees. They're trying to help the displaced people, but they're very limited in what they can do. The Lebanese government and the authorities are actually trying to intervene. I think that obviously Hezbollah has been badly hit and is perhaps in disarray. The Lebanese government intervened personally. I think it was their communications or their travel minister intervened personally to stop Iranian flights immediately today. They said, if you send one more Iranian flight, I don't know what the threat was, but they said, don't come. You are not allowed into Beirut airport because Israel sent a threat. If any Iranian arms enters into Beirut airport, we're going to attack. We're not going to allow it. That means they're going to attack Beirut airport. That's a calamity because that's the only way Lebanon connects with the outside world. Otherwise, they have to rely on Syria, and obviously Israel is in the south. So they're locked. So the Lebanese government, interestingly, intervened and stopped Iranian flights because they don't want Beirut airport, and it worked. They actually sent the flights back. So now Iran is not flying into Beirut airport. But again, is arms even coming into Beirut airport? Probably not. Maybe Israel is looking for an excuse to attack the airport for any reason. So the Lebanese government, the Lebanese army is doing something. It's trying to deal with it, but it's very limited. It's weak. It's been held back for years. It's not strong enough.
Robert, Hezbollah has obviously said that they will continue to bomb northern Israel, and until the war aim of Israel, one of their key war aims is to return their citizens to the north of Israel. 60,000 of them or something, who have been living in hotels and elsewhere in the center of Israel for the last year. Will Hezbollah continue those attacks? It seems like it will do. And will they expand those attacks as well? Because at the moment, they seem to have been kind of focusing on bases, military bases in Israel. Will they go for civilian targets, like Israel has gone for civilian targets in Lebanon? And even if they do, these missiles seem to be being intercepted. Can they actually get through to cause real damage in Israel?
I think they will. What will happen is, amid the disarray, amid the air superiority of Israel, and amid the confusion over what to do next, I think what's going to happen is Hezbollah is going to continue to send consistent daily attacks into Israel. They'll target sites all over, particularly the north. They'll start to target Tel Aviv and a few cities, Haifa as well, maybe, these types of areas. It'll be consistent. They might not hit much, but it will consistently be, like 50 rockets a day, 30 rockets a day, consistently. That means that the Israeli displaced settlers, these colonialists, won't be able to return to the north at all because of the constant threat, the constant risk. That's the least I think Hezbollah can maintain. The least that they can do is just a constant, everyday barrage that will stop the return. That's probably one of their negotiating strategies, because obviously Netanyahu has promised that he's going to get them back there, whatever it takes. If Hezbollah wants to resist Israeli aggression, resist Israel's plans, then they have to keep that barrage going, even if they don't hit anything, just to stop the refugees, because then Netanyahu is not achieving his aims. But the question now is escalation. the supporters of the resistance axis, this Iranian axis, their supporters, they have suffered the loss of Haniyeh, they've suffered the loss of Nasrallah now, they've seen Lebanon getting battered, they've seen Gaza getting flattened. Where is that Iranian response? That is the question now. And even in Iran, they're saying, come on, let's see that reaction. What's it going to be? So the Iranian axis is under serious pressure from their own group. I'm sure they have to respond. How and when? And will it be an Iranian response, or will it be more of the Iranian allies in the region responding only?
I wrote you a question. I mean, will Israel try and kill Ayatollah Khamenei now? They've proved that they have no red lines. So will they try and take out the head of a sovereign state?
That's the one of the unique things about this fight, is that all those red lines, those deterrents that have been set up previously, are being broken badly. The deterrents, now that they're gone, anything could happen. Reports are stating that Iran may have been preparing for this scenario by taking Khamenei into hiding. They've put him in a safe space, apparently, according to reports. We don't know how true that is. It could be Western propaganda, but it makes sense that they would want to protect their leadership as well. Does Israel have the guts to attack Iran directly? That's still a big escalation. It's opening up a brand new direct front, and obviously it would force Iran, if it's different if an Iranian ally gets attacked to if Iran gets attacked itself. And Iran has already shown that when it was attacked last time, it attacked directly. Does Israel want to invite that situation? Maybe it wants to wait for Trump. Maybe it wants to wait for Trump because then Americans can fight the war for them. Maybe. So that's the big question. If they kill Khamenei now, I don't see the immediate benefit, PR benefit, but why would they invite Iran to enter? I don't think so. I don't think so, especially when they're killing Iranian IRGC commanders in Syria or Iraq or anywhere else. Perhaps they'll do that. I think they're still dealing with Lebanon. They're still dealing with Lebanon. So I don't see that happening.
You know, I remember you telling me, there's two things I want to say here to big you up a little bit, maybe, and your geopolitical
long overdue.
Your geopolitical, kind of predictions. There's two things I want to say. We had a conversation about 4 months ago when Ibrahim Raisi was killed, and you thought that there was some Israeli hand in it. I thought it was just an accident. Now, even I'm doubting that. I'm thinking, because I like to say I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I like to have evidence. But now I'm thinking, was it a pager that killed him, that blew up in that helicopter? And Israel, even though they didn't take credit for it, they did kill him. The second thing is that, sorry, I was just on a call there, just throw me a little bit for a second. The second thing is, about a week ago, or a week and a half ago, you told me that they could get to Hassan Nasrallah. And I said, well, I don't think that's true. I think he'll be too safely, kind of concealed. And Hezbollah are stronger than Hamas. They have more intelligence capabilities, etc. So you were definitely, obviously right. And I was wrong on that point. What made you, I don't know, would you like to comment on that?
I think I saw the Haniyeh assassination. I saw the Qasem Soleimani assassination. And even earlier than that, Israel and American intelligence have a history of taking out key members of these groups. Qasem Soleimani was referred to when he was assassinated as the shadow commander. Well, actually, the real shadow commander was Haj Mugniyeh, Haj Radwan, as he was also known, Mugniyeh, who was killed.
Mugniyeh, yeah.
Remember? Imad Mugniyeh. Do you remember him, Roshan? He was famous for being impossible to find, impossible to track, and he was notorious for many years as one of the main people attacking Israel, conducting terror attacks against Israeli targets, against targets inside Lebanon, like the US embassy, that type of thing. If they could get to him, if they could get to Haniyeh inside Iran whilst he was visiting the new president, with all of the security at its that would have been deployed to protect him, then I thought to myself, that means if they can do that, why not? Lebanon is closer. Lebanon, they have their spies everywhere. Lebanon, if you I don't wish to insult anyone, but if you offer the right person just some money, he's going to tell you anything you want. And everyone here talks, everyone here knows what's going on in their communities. I saw it as possible, very possible.
What do you think
after
about
the pager attacks? After the pager attacks, again, I was like, they're infiltrated.
They are, yeah. Well, some people are saying, I mean, I don't give this much credence, but we should address it because, like, a minority of people are saying that they're still saying Iran is in bed with the Americans and the Israelis, and they're, they're just trying to appear to be kind of fighting each other, etc. I think the facts on the ground prove otherwise, pretty obviously. But this is a kind of it's a minority conspiracy theory amongst Muslims, which has some traction.
It does, because I've actually seen it as well on social media. What were they saying? I've seen people tweeting saying that basically Iran, in a kind of get out clause of the conflict, may have sold out the leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah. They might have gifted them as a kind of blood gift to serve them up on a platter to Israel and the Americans in order to kind of save themselves or something like that. I mean,
it's a stretch, isn't it? It's a real stretch.
It is a very big stretch. The fact of the matter is, in a country like Lebanon, you get to interact with people from different camps, different backgrounds, different religions. In Shia circles, in the Shia community, and in the Iranian Axis community, these are revolutionaries, just like Cuban or communist revolutionaries. They have a particular ideology which they're very passionate about. It's very important to them. They're willing to die for it, quite frankly. And this goes back to the Islamic Revolution time, the Iranian Revolution time. And Nasrallah, for example, was on personal, very good terms with Khamenei. These are people who knew each other for years. He basically pledged bay'ah to Khamenei, the Walayat al-Faqih system. I believe that there is actually a principle in this community of loyalty to them, between themselves. These are the very close, like blood brothers.
Yeah, that's because
so I think for someone to say, well, Iran's, to save their own skin, they're willing to just gift up these characters to the Israelis, it's very hard, because it's not like they have no principles, these people. They wouldn't have got this far if they had no principles. They believe in a revolution that they're trying to support. And these are all Shia as well. So it's hard to argue that realistically.
Yeah, I mean, look, brothers and sisters, we have no skin on this game. We're not Iranian. We've got nothing to do with Iran. We're Sunni Muslims. We're just trying to analyze this kind of dispassionately here. And I'm
just trying to be honest. I'm just trying to
be honest here. And I just don't see it. I think that Iran, I mean, you can criticize Iran for not doing enough against Israel. That's a legitimate question. But the fact is they've done more than any of us Sunni Muslims, especially on the military front, by funneling arms to Hamas and Hezbollah. So we're just trying to analyze this dispassionately.
I think if I can say one more thing, I think there's some truth to the overall concept of Iran choosing or having a policy of keeping the fight with their enemies, like Israel and the West, in Arab lands.
Yes.
So obviously for the Iranians, they don't want the fight to come inside Iran because they know it will be another Syria. So if they have to fight, they're going to fight in Syria, they're going to fight in Yemen, they're going to fight in Lebanon. So I think that there is some truth if you're going to argue that maybe from an Iranian perspective, they're thinking it's better if we keep the Arab world where the fighting is. So it's not good to let, like, for example, Iraq, to get too independent. We need to keep them in our sphere of influence, because if we're going to fight the Americans, it's going to be in Iraq. We don't want it to fight in Iran. So I think that is where some truth is, which if you tell an Iranian, they're not going to like that. They're going to say, how dare you say that?
No, yeah, but it's, I mean, look, I want to say two things. One is that what you said, the doctrine of, in the 1980s, Iran fought a devastating war, partially on its own soil, and it lost about 500,000 of its own citizens in that war, the first Iran-Iraq war. And since then, their military doctrine has been to fight their enemies abroad, not on Iranian soil, on other soil. And we've seen that with devastating impact in Syria and elsewhere, but especially in Syria and Iraq mainly, but mainly in Syria. And that's why Iran, which was quite popular amongst a lot of Sunni Muslims, in the early 2000s, became very unpopular because of the Syrian war and the amount of Sunni Muslims, quite frankly, that were killed. And obviously Hezbollah took part in that war, and so did Iranian troops and other militias that were fighting on the side of Assad. That's where all the bad blood comes from, and it's bad blood that will exist for generations, quite frankly. The second thing I wanted to say, I've forgotten now. The other reason why pro-axis of resistance people are very sensitive about any criticism, I think it's religious partially, because they've kind of given bay'ah, haven't they, to Ayatollah Khamenei. They pledged allegiance. They pledged allegiance to Hassan Nasrallah. A lot of them have anyway. So it's like in the Sunni context, when you criticize someone's sheikh, then they're very sensitive about that. There's an echo coming from you, Robert, I think. But yeah, so that's just to explain the context why some of the pro-Iran people, pro-Hezbollah people, they get very sensitive when you criticize them, and you can't make any criticism whatsoever, or they'll take it the wrong way, and they'll accuse you of being Wahhabi or pro-Israel or stuff like that. It turns into an emotional situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you definitely can't have a free talk about these types of issues out there in the streets of Beirut right now. You'd be asking for serious, serious trouble. Look, the fact is that everyone in this region is trying to deal with a difficult situation, and they all have a kind of understandable position if you actually listen to their side. Obviously, it doesn't justify everything. So obviously, if you're going to ask a Sunni from Syria about the situation, he's going to say things about Iran, Hezbollah, and everything. He's going to celebrate their death. He's going to celebrate their downfall. Now, I can understand why he's going to say that, because maybe his family got killed by Assad, who was backed by Iran. Maybe a Hezbollah fighter killed his family. I don't know. But then if you go to Shia communities in Lebanon and you see how they've had to liberate themselves with Iranian support only, no help came from anywhere in the Sunni Muslim world, then you understand why they're fanatically loyal to Iran, because the way they see it, the Iranians are the only ones that helped them, not just to liberate their land, but to help them with medicine for their elderly parents, to give them a job with a salary, to build their house, to build their streets. So that's why they hang pictures of Khomeini everywhere in South Lebanon, because they see him as their hero, their champion. This is the region, unfortunately, that we live in. So if you've got to navigate it, you've got to understand, not agree with everything, in fact, condemn many things, but you have to understand what's going on. And I think the worst thing for Lebanon, the people of Lebanon right now, is to say, well, let's bring some sectarianism in. Let's have a sectarianism debate or row back in London. This is not going to help. The enemy of Islam is attacking them.
Do you think, with Hezbollah weakened, do you think other factions inside Lebanon might try to weaken Hezbollah even further on behalf of Israel ultimately? Could there be a Lebanese civil war now?
I think there is a chance, Definitely, because Hezbollah, as you said, has many enemies in Lebanon, actually. And some of these groups have weapons as well. They could easily put bodies in the street and start setting fires and attacking people. Hezbollah, make no mistake, they've been hit badly, but they're still very strong. They're still very strong, and they have large membership. They have their own followers, and they have much more guns and rockets and fighters than anyone else. So if that situation happens, it will drag the fight away from Israel, but Hezbollah is going to win that. So if there is a civil war, Hezbollah is going to win. Hezbollah has always had the ability, probably, to take over Lebanon by force and to turn it into a Shia Islamic Republic if they wanted. They had that power always. They never did it because they know there's no benefit in that. But if the enemies decide we want to have that fight and Hezbollah say, okay, let's have the fight, they know they're going to lose. So maybe there will be some fighting, maybe, if outside forces want it to happen. But Hezbollah can win that fight, but it will be costly. Lebanon will get destroyed and Israel will benefit. So it could happen, yes, Roshan. Will it happen? I don't know. How it will turn out, Hezbollah will win, but
Robert,
then they'll take over a destroyed country.
Robert, just I think there are still a lot of people watching. But people have stopped really asking interesting questions, I think, as well, or making interesting points. We might wrap this up. And sure. I'm not sure how long you're going to stay, but we'll probably get you on again. There seems to be quite a lot of interest to do that. But just to wrap up now, can I ask you a specific question? I know that you're out there with human aid, aren't you? Distributing some aid. I guess one thing that we can do, brothers and sisters, I know that we all feel a bit impotent at the moment, but one thing we can do is try to relieve the humanitarian situation. Is there a link you can put up for maybe human aid who you're out there with, so people can donate to help refugees, etc.?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, Human Aid and Advocacy, a fantastic organization which we know very well here at Five Pillars, and you may know from past collaborations we've done with them. Basically, I'm very pleased to say that when it became clear that I was coming to Lebanon, and we reached out to them for help because they have partners on the ground here in Lebanon working already. They decided, let us also do distributions as well, alhamdulillah. So I've been able to witness that. I've been able to help with that. I've been able to package items and distribute it to some of these displaced families in schools all over the country. So please help this organization, because I know from witnessing it with my own eyes, the work they do is genuine. It's real. Any money you go is going to go straight to people who need it badly. Just to give you very briefly some examples, there was a woman I met yesterday who had fled. She just gave birth. She had a cesarean, a C-section, because of the journey with her newborn baby, and the wound that she had, it has become infected. She's now sharing a room with 15 other members of her family because there's no space. The child, the newborn baby, was getting sick because it was around the elements and many people who were also getting sick, so colds, flus, and all that type of thing. She had no space, no privacy. She had a lack of food, and she was sharing one cooking space with the entire building, not just the 15 in her room, the entire building with at least 30 other families. The situation is very desperate, and the invasion hasn't even begun yet. The Israelis haven't even entered Lebanon yet, and the situation is untenable. There is at least 100,000 plus displaced Lebanese, let alone the millions of refugees, Palestinian and Syrian, who have been stuck here for years, and they have nowhere to go. The Lebanese government is saying we will not help any Syrians or Palestinian at all because we have to put our own people first. And even the Lebanese that they're helping, they don't give them much because they have nothing to give them. Maybe accommodation if you're lucky. People are stuck on the roads. People are stuck in the cars, on the streets, trying to dodge the areas where the Israelis are hitting. They're hitting. So the work that Human Aid and Advocacy do is so important at this stage, and will become more important, especially if Israel invades. So get helping now while they have the chance, because there is people here who need it now. So definitely take our advice, because I've seen it. And inshallah, I will give you a chance to see it yourself. I have footage and coverage and proofs of our good work. So yes, if you can, please help by supporting this organization. And if you can support Five Pillars as well, that's also important, because we have to document what's going on. And we need someone who's going to speak the truth from a Muslim perspective and provide people of this region the platform they need to express themselves, because they won't do it on BBC or CNN or any of these other mainstream Western channels. They're going to platform the enemies, the ones killing kids. They're going to platform the governments which are defending and facilitating the genocide against our people, our brothers and sisters here. Okay, they're on the enemy side. Inshallah, with Allah's guidance, we're going to stay and be on the right side, the people's side, inshallah.
Robert, any final messages? And also tell us about your own situation. How long are you planning to stay? Can you even get out now? It's hard to get out, right? In the airport.
It's very, very difficult. The airport flights stopped. They are back in a way. I think Middle East Airline is the last one, the Lebanese airline. They are due. They've scheduled flights for this week, but it's day by day. So I can't book a ticket and then go on the day and leave. I have to check every day, contact the airport and see if there's any way I can squeeze onto a flight. It's going to cost money. We will see how that goes. If at any stage, now, tomorrow, tonight, the airport gets hit, or Israel attacks again, or the situation escalates, then there's possibly no way out. If I go to Syria, it's very risky. It's very risky because a British passport, a white man showing up at this time, very dangerous situation. So maybe not a good idea. There are no boats. There could be an evacuation. Some countries are evacuating their citizens, but who knows? Who knows if I will leave? I don't know when or what the situation is. And every day something new is escalating, something new is happening. Dhahir got pounded last night. There was at least, I witnessed, a dozen strikes on the area, big and small. The similar area was hit, the Hezbollah HQ, with bunker buster bombs, at least 2,000 tons each, maybe like 6 bombs or 10 bombs, boom, 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 boom. And the whole city was rocking like this. What's going to happen tonight? That was 12 hours of sustained attack. Beirut was hit today at least 6 times, maybe an hour ago. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I don't know. Is Hezbollah going to retaliate tonight? Is Iran going to retaliate tonight? I don't know. It's the answer to you. It's day by day. I think, Roshan, we should do a live tomorrow if you can and see how the situation is. Because honestly, frankly, I don't know what the situation is. Maybe I'm not going to be alive tomorrow. It's in Allah's hands.
Don't say that.
I don't know. It's in Allah's hands. It's in Allah's hands. Just pray for me, pray for Lebanon.
What's that, Robert? Something behind you happened?
There's Lebanese army.
Can you perhaps show us with your phone what's going on outside your window?
Lebanese army passing by. They are preparing to defend Beirut. They're on high alert. I suspect they're going to set up more roadblocks. I suspect they're anticipating mobilization. Hezbollah supporters may take to the streets tonight. They may take their guns with them. They might be very angry. They might be looking for revenge. They might be looking for attacks. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen tonight. We've already heard gunshots ringing out in Shia majority areas. Tensions are high. People are angry, but also grieving because their leader, who they're fanatic supporters of, has been killed. So the army is on high alert. And Beirut, there is rival factions in the separate streets. So you turn one corner, you're in a Sunni street. You turn another corner, it's a Shia street. You turn another corner, it's Christian. And then Druze as well, and they all have their own political parties. What's going to happen? We don't know. So it could be a very tense night, and that's the army, I think, preparing for this evening. It's
we'll let you.
It's gone 5 o'clock now, I think. Yeah,
just
it's
to,
just past 5 o'clock. It's going to get dark soon.
Just to confirm that before we go, just to confirm the latest details, people that are just joining, Hezbollah has confirmed the killing of its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, in a massive air attack in Beirut last night. The Lebanese group says it will continue to confront Israel in support of Gaza and in defense of Lebanon. Hamas has said that it's in mourning for Hassan Nasrallah. The Iraqi Prime Minister, also an Iran ally, has called this a shameful attack by Israel. Israel is on social media boasting that it has liquidated Hassan Nasrallah. Israel supporters are openly mocking the axis of resistance and gloating about this, that they've taken out the leaders of Hezbollah and Hamas, and they say they can do the same to all of their enemies. Benjamin Netanyahu's popularity within Israel has skyrocketed. Lebanon's health minister says that 11 people were killed in yesterday's attack and 108 wounded. I find that very low for the kind of weaponry that Israel was using, that bunker-busting bomb. I'm sure more would have been killed than that. And as you say, and as we just saw, Lebanese army tanks have been deployed in Beirut in anticipation of possible protests. And you can see a few outside Robert's hotel. Robert, before you go, any last messages before I wrap up?
The situation is very dangerous. Alhamdulillah, I'm safe where I am, and the people I'm with are taking very good care of me. But please do pray, because the situation could escalate any time. It could turn into a full-blown war. Definitely, the potential is there. People are already suffering badly. You're not seeing it because journalists don't have access to the south very easily. So you're not seeing the devastation or the fighting that much, not like you should. Innocent civilians are being killed. I think that the potential for it to expand into a region-wide war is very real also. If they go to war with Lebanon, surely other countries are going to get involved. Iran to start with, then who else? Maybe Russia, maybe the US, maybe Europe as well. So the situation is very, very dire. And please, if you can support, please do. You know who to support. We've told you, Human Aid and Advocacy, and also us. And do monitor the situation. But please keep liking, sharing information from Lebanon. Talk about Lebanon. Go to supporting Lebanon initiatives in the UK if you can, because like Gaza, if you don't talk about Israel's crimes, then Israel gets away with it completely. It's up to us to hold any kind of accountability, even if it's just documenting their crimes and exposing them. If that's all we can do, then at least it's something. It's very important, just so we remember what Israel did forever, and we always, always keep them as the pariah that they deserve to be, and to push the boycott of this evil, nasty regime, which is so willing to kill innocent people just because they want to steal the land, this colonialist project. So, inshallah, please pray for Lebanon. Please pray for Palestine as well, and for the Ummah to wake up one day, inshallah, and to fix this mess. That's the only way, is if we fix it ourselves with Allah's guidance.
I mean, brothers and sisters, please follow Robert. He's uploading everything onto Twitter, mainly on his own personal Twitter and the Five Pillars Twitter. That's where it goes first. So please look out for that, and like, share, and comment on his work. He's obviously putting himself at considerable risk to bring this work to you. The second thing is directly to Robert. Stay safe, Robert. I don't want your blood on my hands. I feel responsible for you. So I'm telling you straight. I do not want you to put yourself at any risk. You obviously make the judgment yourself. If you want to stay in your hotel room and do everything from your hotel room, then I'm happy for you to do that. you know. But if you're going to go out, and I'm sure you are going to go out because I know you, then obviously have somebody with you, locals with you. You're a white guy, ultimately. You stand out a little bit, you know. People might think you're a spy, you know. They might think you're a spy. So
does this look less suspicious? Does this look less suspicious?
But what I would say, because obviously I've done, Robert, I've obviously been to Lebanon during the last war. I've done quite a lot of war reporting myself in different countries. Just take the advice of trusted people that you're with, you know, and you know, if they tell you that's a bit dangerous, then don't do it. Yeah, so I look forward to, inshallah, speaking to you tomorrow. And I'm sure your family.
What usually happens, by the way, brothers and sisters, is I get advice, good advice from people who know. And then when I tell Roshan what I'm doing, he gives me the opposite advice, and he says, "No,
come on.
no."
That's going to be played out. That's going to be played out. When,
there's a little bit of hypocrisy.
Listen. I'll be honest.
Disclaimer in case I don't come back. So fair enough. I think it's like business.
I'll be honest. Obviously, I've done this a few times in the past, and I'm more of the gung ho type, and you know, the war adrenaline kind of person type. But that is not the right thing to do, you know. And ultimately, you're a married man, you have children, you have a wife, and your first responsibility is to them, you know. So, and we need you to come back safe so that you can document and work for 5 Pillars for many more years. Document the Islamophobia, the horrendous stuff that's happening to Muslims, to defend Islam and Muslims, promote Islam and Muslims, inshallah. So we need you to come back. Thank you, Robert. Inshallah, see you tomorrow.
Let me just mention as well something very high tense situation that could escalate. If anything happens to me, not only my wife, but my mother-in-law, who loves me very much and I love her very much, she's vowed to get revenge on Roshan if anything happens to me. So for Roshan's sake, please, brothers and sisters, pray for my well-being. Pray that I come back to London, because there are Arabs that will put a blood oath on Roshan if not.
I know that your family your in-laws are from Yemen, and I've been to Yemen, and they have this thing called thi'r, revenge in Arabic. It means revenge.
Absolutely.
And they take that very seriously. So if anything happens to you, I'm literally going into hiding. And my security will be much better than Hassan Nasrallah, put it that way.
Yeah, you'll need one of those bunkers, underground bunkers. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to take on any Yemeni. No way. All right, Robert. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Take care.
Take care. Allah ma'ak. Ma salama.
All right, brothers and sisters, let me finish off by just a few more comments. If there's any good ones, then I will flash them up before saying ma salama myself. So obviously a lot of people just saying to Robert, stay safe. There's so many du'as for that. We pinned the Human Aid link at the top of the YouTube comments. I donate to Human Aid myself, by the way, brothers and sisters. I wouldn't ask you to donate to somebody I don't donate, but they do great work. I've seen their work on the ground in Afghanistan and elsewhere as well. And all my friends vouch for it. All the people that have been abroad with them vouch for it. So if you can donate to relieve some of the suffering of the Lebanese people, inshallah. Bear with me a little bit while I scroll through the comments. And then I'll do a little bit of a conclusion, just 1 minute before we go. Is there any Hezbollah in Beirut? Of course. Their headquarters are in the south of Beirut, in Dahia. But obviously their main kind of base amongst the people of Lebanon is in the Bekaa Valley in the west, next to Syria, and in the south of Lebanon. That's where their main support lies. People talking to each other in the comments. Let me find a good one. Just bear with me for a second. Robert, call your family and speak to them. Yeah, I'm sure he's speaking to them every day. Of course he is. Whenever I call him, he's speaking to them, as he should. Allah keep you safe, brother. Lots of Ameens. Robert, you're an asset to real journalism. Keep us updated on X or other social media. We need to debunk fake Israeli narrative with your support. They haven't gone into South Lebanon yet. As I said before, I think that if they do that, it will kind of play into Hezbollah's hands to a certain extent. I personally think that if it's going to be a ground invasion, it'll be quite limited because they've had their fingers burnt many times before trying to invade Lebanon. However, you know, this is a crazy regime that has, you know, surprised us all by crossing so many red lines. So who knows what they'll do. Bear with me, please. Hezbollah is a state within a state, and they have their own communications and intelligence, and even at the airports. That's true. They're far the most powerful actor in Lebanon. That's what the Lebanese army is nothing. Robert, God bless you. Pittsburgh says, found this channel. I'm not a Muslim, but I have great respect for Robert's brave reporting. Thank you very much. I assume I'm talking to a non-Muslim officer, yeah, so thank you very much for your comments. They are appreciated. And please look into Islam. It's the true religion. A few questions about Robert's whereabouts. Obviously, I'm not going to divulge that. Yeah, so that's it, brothers and sisters. So I'm going to wrap up now. Still about 1,350 of you watching, which is amazing for a live. Follow Robert on Twitter, which is his main platform. He has about 140,000 followers there, so he has a major platform on Twitter. Also, inshallah, if there's an appetite for it, please let me know in the comments. We'll probably try and catch up with Robert tomorrow evening. Let him go out and do some news reporting, talk to people, and then he can say something meaningful to us tomorrow when we get him back, inshallah, if there's an appetite for that. The only thing I would say to conclude, brothers, is that I think that obviously if you're pro-Palestinian, we have received lots of blows over the last few months, and Israel is sitting pretty at the moment, or ugly. Israel's sitting very ugly at the moment. But they're jubilant. But all I would say, I always use the analogy of boxing. I'm a boxing fan. And if you are too, I'll use this analogy. You know, this is a 12-round bout, okay? And we are the underdog. And during those 12 rounds, if you're fighting an opponent which has all the cards in its favor, then there's going to be knockdowns. There's going to be severe blows to you, to your chin. You're going to get knocked down. But if you're a pro-Palestinian, you keep getting up. And any underdog boxer will tell you that if they win in the last round, the 12th round knockout, it's not because of one punch. It's because of the multitude of blows that they have inflicted upon the enemy over the previous 11 rounds. And in the 12th round, they go down. So that's my message to you. On this day where Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, has been assassinated. Jazakallah khair for all your comments, for expressing so much support for Robert and for Five Pillars. And inshallah, we'll probably see you again tomorrow night. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.